that. And so it would really cause a complete transformation. And frankly, I don't think most of us are going to be ready for it, but that won't stop it from happening. Our culture as it is right now, I don't think is sufficiently preparing us. There are hints being dropped here and there, but I think by and large, most people go through their daily lives. They don't really think too much about this. They got other things on their plate. And when this comes down, it's going to come down really hard, and it's going to transform everything.
And fast when it happens.
Yeah, I think it will happen very unexpectedly. Within like 1 week, it'll be like nothing happened, and then next week, I bet it'll be like a complete transformation. I think.
Will it be a mistake, Richard, something happened and they have to tell us? Will it come out that way?
Yeah, I think it won't happen as a result of a carefully orchestrated plan. I do think it will happen as a result of somebody's hand being forced. And I think very likely something like the Stephenville case could do it conceivably. In other words, a very major event. Had the Phoenix Lights of 1997 occurred, a few hours earlier in the day when it was daylight,
absolutely.
can you imagine? Right?
Absolutely.
So this kind of thing can happen, and one day it will happen, and when it does, it's going to be a very, very rapid unraveling of the secrecy.
Back to the phones we go. West of the Rockies. April, you're on the air with us. Hey, April.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi, April.
Hi. Okay, so I have, actually a couple questions, quick ones, but one of them the main one. I kind of understand, but I don't really understand. Like, why is hiding extraterrestrial, like, aliens? Like, why is it so big to hide it? Why is the government hiding it from us?
Okay.
I mean, if something's going to happen later in the future anyway, and we're going to find out about it anyway, shouldn't they be preparing us for it instead of
We think it's control, April. I think they're afraid of losing control.
Yeah.
I go back 50, 60 years. Pretend that you're the president of the United States back in the 1940s, so you're Harry Truman.
Okay.
And your top scientist or general comes up to you and says, sir, we've recovered technology that doesn't appear to have originated from our civilization. So you got this bombshell dropped on you, right?
Okay.
And now what do you do with it? Do you tell the world? Well, keep in mind, in the 1940s, we had this Cold War going on, and the U.S. and the Soviets were not getting along. And so if you've got this technology, this very exotic stuff now that you've got in your possession, if you tell the world that you have it, it's going to make it very, very difficult not to share it with other parties, and you may not want to share it with other parties. So there's that, and that might be one reason the secrecy begins. Another reason might be that someone like Truman would think, okay, hold on, let's figure out, do we need to, who are these other beings? Do we have anything to worry about? Let's not drop the bombshell on the public until we know what we're talking about. So there might be very legitimate reasons to start the secrecy. What I think happens is that secrecy develops its own momentum, however, and its own profit, by the way. So that one thing I've argued for a number of years is that the possession of this technology has gone into private defense contractor corporate interests, and I think that they're making some very good money off of this. By studying the technology, coming up with nifty ideas for further developments. And so they really have no incentive for giving up this goose that lays golden eggs. And then, of course, it becomes a public relations problem. How do you tell the world that you've been lying to them for decade after decade? These things build up and they become more and more difficult. So I think that in a lot of ways, these people who are in possession of this secret have backed themselves into a very difficult corner.
So
I'm sorry.
Sorry. It's kind of back to the theory that knowledge is power. But, isn't power also knowledge? Like, in order to have good power, to be able to use it, like, rightfully and everything, and in a good way, you have to have a lot of knowledge because you can do something that can harm the planet and everything. And
right.
I'm not too sure if aliens are dangerous or if they're not, or what, or anything. But either way, I mean, in my opinion, I still think that they should be trying to get us ready for it rather than hiding us. I mean, I do understand what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense. but I still think that they should at least let us know a little bit about it.
I'm not necessarily defending their actions.
Oh,
here.
no, I know.
I believe in the truth as much as you do. And you're coming from a very logical position, which is that the government should be acting the way it's supposed to act, which is in the best interest of the broader community, and not lie to people year after year, decade after decade, which is what they've been doing. The motivations back then might have been noble, but now we're talking 60-plus years. And, you lie to the world for 60 years, and bad things are going to happen, and I think that's where we're at. But they're not always acting from a generous public policy point of view. I don't know if they're always looking out for our interests.
Not at all. First-time caller line, Michael in Pennsylvania. You're on the air with us. Hi, Michael.
Hello. Hello, George and Richard.
Hi, Mike.
I'm listening to the compelling sighting stories, and I was wondering about abductions. I was wondering, could you give me maybe one compelling abduction case? And also, secondary point is, what usually happens during an abduction? And I'll take my answer offline.
Sure. One compelling abduction case, well, I think that there are quite a few. The thing about abductions, I'll just start off and say that I do believe that they are happening. I think that they are probably fairly common. How common, I couldn't tell you. I don't know, and no one's got statistics on this sort of thing, of course. The thing about these other beings who are taking humans is that they have the ability to manipulate the human mind. And this is an unsettling thing, but it's absolutely undeniable when you look at the sum total of abduction literature. People get taken, they get switched on, they get switched off, their memories are basically erased when they get brought back, but they have vague memories of something that happened. These other beings have the ability to mess with our heads. And beyond all else, we have to keep this in mind. A very good abduction case, well, I'm still fond of the Travis Walton case of 1975. I think that's a very good case. Travis Walton, of course, was a forest worker who was with a crew of a bunch of other guys, and a light in the sky approached them as they were going home. He gets hit in the chest with a beam of light and is gone for several days. The thing about that case is that Travis and his coworkers all took polygraph tests, and they did very well with those polygraph tests, in my opinion. There are many, many cases that are not spectacular, however. I myself sat in on hypnotic regression on one particular abduction case, and all I can say is that the person doing the regression was a very qualified PhD psychiatrist who did not, in absolutely no way did this person lead the experiencer on with any kind of leading questions, and yet what came out was a classic abduction case. What they do is they take you, they take us, and typically what is involved has to do with human reproduction and human DNA. These other beings are very interested in our DNA. That, I think, there's no question about it. It seems to me that they're creating variant types of variant species based on our DNA and probably their DNA, is what it looks like, and for purposes, that are really unknown at this point. I mean, is it for them to take over? Well, I don't know. But they're creating what have been called transgenic beings for some time now. I think just as we would if we were on another world, needing from time to time to interact with that dominant species over there. We wouldn't necessarily be able to walk around on their planet. Their sun might be bad. There might be microbes that would be harmful to us. So we would maybe want to create a genetic variant that would still be working for us, but that would be able to live on that world. And I think that's what they are doing with us.
Good point. Let's move on to our wild card line. Ray in Gainesville, Florida, your turn. Go ahead, Ray.
Good evening, good morning, George, and your guest. I forget his name.
Richard.
Richard. Listen, I got a question and a comment. The comment is I think gravity waves are what allows the ETs to create energy. But anyway, my question is, I don't believe that I think the ETs want full disclosure, and I don't think it's religion or the general public is the fear.